Hello, it's Friday already. How did that happen? And it's 3 o'clock, so time for my Facebook Live. I wanted to move on from immunity to variety. So, one of the issues with being in lockdown is that you can get really bored of the food that you're eating. And once we start to get bored of things, then it's easy to slip back into old, maybe unhealthier habits. Um, and as I've mentioned a couple of times, it appears that people are eating more healthily since lockdown, maybe because it's not quite so easy to grab fast food on the way home, or you've just got a bit more time, so it's viable to cook well. So I want to encourage you to carry on with that, and I want to come up with lots of ideas of how you can make sure that your diet is as varied as possible, because the more varied it is, the more likely you are to carry on eating this way. So, today I wanted to talk about herbs and spices. They're a really important part of meals, and they're what make them tasty. But most herbs and spices also have nutritional benefits. So, if you're using herbs and spices in your meals, you're already doing more to boost your health. And there's lots of ways of achieving this. So you could be using dried herbs and spices. If you're anything like me, you've got a cupboard overflowing with them. Um, but don't stick to recipes. Just if you've got a spice or a herb that you really enjoy, add it. Why not? It could liven up something. Then this is the perfect time to start growing your own. So I've got two old Belfast sinks in the garden, and I'm growing, one's just mint and the other is rosemary and sage at the moment, but my plan is to increase that. Um, and things like rosemary grow really abundantly in this climate, and rosemary is incredibly anti-inflammatory. So if you have some, add it to as many meals as possible. It's great with roasted vegetables. Obviously, it's great with lamb. You can chop it up really finely and add it to baking. I've made a really nice rosemary pastry before, so it's really quite versatile. Um, and then if you obviously don't have your own supply, you can buy them fresh. Um, and then there's some really handy ways of storing spices. So I've mentioned these before, but I always have frozen packets of frozen herbs and spices in the fridge, in the freezer even. If you have a surplus in your garden, you could always freeze what you've got. It's really good to freeze them in ice cube, those ice cube blocks, and then just defrost them as you need them. But if you haven't done that, you can buy things. So this is garlic, ginger, chilies, and the parsley. So really versatile, an easy way to make sure you've always got herbs on hand. And then the other thing that we've had given to us a couple of times is presents that have been spice boxes. So there's the Spicery, which are based in Bristol, and they do lots of gift packs, but they also do a subscription. So you could have a different spice mix sent every week, and then that would come with recipes. Um, and that would encourage you to have more variety in your diet. Donna's just said that they planted 12 types of herbs yesterday. That's very impressive. Yes, it's a brilliant time of year to be planting them. And you don't need a garden to plant herbs. If you've just got a windowsill, you can plant herbs, and they will grow really quickly. And they don't need to be that established for you to be able to cook them. So think about how you can add herbs and spices to your diet. Just going to run through a few and their nutritional benefits. So cinnamon, absolutely delicious, but really good for blood sugar balance. So if you are at risk of diabetes or have diabetes, it's a really good thing to add to things like porridge, or you could add it to drinks. So chai tea is quite heavily spiced with cinnamon. But if it's something you enjoy, you could add it to baking, sprinkle it on hot chocolate. Not that you should be having that really, maybe coffee. Um, so that's cinnamon. Chili, obviously, use it depending on your personal what's the word? Resistance? I don't know, I can't remember what the word is. But chili is thermogenic, so it heats up the body and it's supposed to speed up the metabolism. So supposedly good for weight loss, although you'd probably have to have a lot of chilies to have an impact on weight. But it's a good way of speeding up the metabolism. Things like peppermint or mint is supposed to be very soothing for the digestive system. So mint tea, especially fresh mint tea, it would be a really nice thing to have. So if you've got peppermint or any mint leaves growing in the garden, just steep them in hot water. Absolutely delicious and really good after a meal to soothe your digestion. And ginger, so ginger's really great. It's again anti-inflammatory, really soothing for the gut. So if you suffer with IBS, then ginger could be a really good remedy. So experiment with herbs and spices. Let me know how you get on, and tell me what your favourite ones are, and maybe I can give you some more information about them in terms of how they help your health. And hi, Romana. Nice to see you here, and lovely that Charlotte's with us too. So thank you for listening. Yes, amazingly, it's Friday again. So I hope you've got some nice, relaxing plans for the weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Okay, bye.